Not quite as stunned as you were when you saw these signs, but reading this story about what was on display at this Philadelphia public elementary school, it is kind of stunning. You know, I mean, Erin, when schools are polling places, they're not allowed to put up, candidate signs. They're not allowed to show any support for any causes, and yet here you go. You've got a bunch of anti-NRA signs, guns suck, protect kids, not guns. Tell me about this. It also
says that enough BS from the GOP. Yeah, these are really, really partisan and upsetting signs. And these kids at this school are as young as 5 years old. So are we really using 5-year-olds as political shields and political pawns? It's very sad. I have a 5-year-old myself, and I'll tell you, he doesn't even know what he wants for dinner, let alone what the NRA or the GOP is.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's the case. I know that, there is the woke kids phenomena of, my 8-year-old looked at me as we were watching the news last night and said, Daddy, why is it that Donald Trump is issuing these protectionist tariffs against, listen, that's nonsensical. And you think that this is what's going on here. Parents and teachers basically telling these kids what to think. I think you're right, Erin. I doubt a 5-year-old is frankly going to know where to get both sides of a story. I'm not sure how deeply a 5-year-old is going to understand the current debate about firearms, but it didn't stop the teachers there at this elementary school. What was the name of the school?
It's the Albert M. Greenfield Elementary School in Philadelphia, PA, zip code 19103. So it goes by the name Greenfield. I live in this area. This is where I pay taxes. This is where my son would go to school. But for the fact that I saw these signs, look, I'm a member of the NRA. I'm a member of the GOP. How can I in good faith walk through that door and subject my son to the torture that may ensue inside of there? So I'm just going to pay my taxes under protest and have to send my kid to private school.
Yeah, listen, I get what you're saying. If and I'm sure that there are other parents out there, and I worry about those kids whose parents, maybe private school is not an option. And what kind of grief, as you say, are they getting, not only from the students, but from the faculty, from the administration there as well. I know that when Fox and Friends reached out, the school district spokesman said, quote, "We support students' rights to self-expression as long as that expression does not disrupt an orderly school environment, and these signs are not in violation of the school district of Philadelphia policy." Do we have any idea how and why these signs got created there at the school to begin with?
No, but I did file a right to know request, which any citizen in the United States can do. I want some answers. I want to know, when were these signs made? What resources were allocated to said signs? Were they made during school hours or were they made after school hours? Was there any organization with a political party or outside group? If so, and if done over a school email, they could be in deep trouble. Moreover, they say that they're within the Philadelphia school district's parameters, if you will. It could be unconstitutional if a child in that school wants to show an opposing point of view and is not allowed. So they don't know that everything is hunky-dory over there. And meanwhile, speaking of hunky-dory, the graduation rate in the school district of Philadelphia is around 70%. That's 10% below the national average. The city of Philadelphia should be focusing on teaching kids how to read, science, math, not creating divisive political hatred when they have such an education epidemic in Philadelphia.
Amen. Talking again with Erin Elmore, a Republican strategist, NRA member as well, as you just told us. So, and good for you, by the way, for filing that right to know request. I think you were spot on with that. And I've actually had to do this with my local school district regarding the student walkouts held back in March. I had asked for some information from my school district. They were not forthcoming. So, okay, I guess we're going to go the FOIA route. And I did. And this is something, again, whether you've got a student in your school or you're just a taxpayer, paying for the public education of students there in your school district, you're absolutely right. You have a right to know. And if the school districts are going to clam up and they're not going to be transparent, they're not going to be forthcoming about what's going on, you may have to go that route. It's actually not that difficult to do. You don't need an attorney to get involved to file these requests. If they deny your request, you might need to get an attorney involved at some point. But to take those first initial steps, this is something that I think every informed citizen needs to be able to do because, frankly, again, we have so many public officials who want to avoid accountability for stuff like this.
It's absolutely true. And you know what's sad? I'm in the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania apparently has the highest NRA membership anywhere in the country outside of Texas. So they think here in Philadelphia, which is a Democratic hotbed, that people don't support the NRA. Well, that's patently untrue because Pennsylvanians across the state do support the NRA. So the statements that the school district are making is just, they're not appropriate, they're not accurate, and they're not really hitting the message. The message is we all want our school children to be safe, but targeting the GOP and targeting NRA is not the answer. You know what else, Cam, is really upsetting? These signs, if you zoom in, say things like guns suck and use the word BS, which stands for bull, you know what. And also there's another sign that says the word dope on it. So now we're teaching kids the word suck, dope, and bull. I don't think those are good things for any kid to know at any age. And if they already know it, they shouldn't be saying it at school.
Yeah, I mean, I think back on my days in elementary school, and that would have definitely resulted in a trip to the principal's office instead of the principal posting my work for the world to see with great pride.
I mean, this certainly isn't anything that anyone should be proud of. It's divisive and it's using children as pawns, and truthfully, they should be ashamed of themselves, but instead they're doubling down on their rhetoric, doubling down, and now I'm getting nasty calls from parents, but you know what? They should really take a long, hard look inside themselves. I don't care who they voted for. These signs look tacky. They look aesthetically vile on the front of a school. It's not like they're art or they're well done. And moreover, the words that they use are not the best way to get a message across. This is, forget your politics. It's just not the right move in terms of parenting.
Talking again with Erin Elmore. And Erin, you said that you're hearing from parents and some nasty grams. Are you getting any support from others there in the neighborhood?
Not really, no. But I know all of the Republicans in my area, and we're all working together to make sure that this message gets out. I know some local news stations are picking up the story tonight. I hope that I will hear from some supporters. But I want them to know, and I want everyone at the Greenfield School to know, I'm not going to go away. These signs might go away, but I'm still not going to go away because this still occurred. I still have my right to know request pending. And if I don't get the answers that I want, I will have to take a more legal route. And as an attorney, I'm very comfortable doing that. I am a crusader for justice and equality. And this is not an example of justice or equality. I am not going away.
Erin Elmore, listen, thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thanks for coming on the program today. It's great talking with you, and I hope we can do this again soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You bet. Erin Elmore with us here on Cam and Company, and talking about the signs outside of Greenfield Elementary there in Philadelphia. Yeah, pretty sure I would have gotten my mouth washed out with soap had I, particularly the BS stuff there in elementary school. But